My name is Oluwafemi Adebanjo, and I was once like you guys who was trying to find out what career choice I would have to make until I joined a similar call about almost 2 years ago, and I made that decision to be a data analyst via this platform. So right now, I am a senior data manager within the NHS. Before that, I was a data administrator also within the NHS. So those are the kind of opportunities that will present itself once you undergo this course. You may be wondering what is data analysis. Like the name suggests, maybe you may not know. Data analysis is basically the process of, examining data, cleaning that data, transforming, and also interpreting data for useful business insights. Your job as a data analyst is sometimes is just you just get the data and report it to your clients. But if you want to undergo the whole process, you have to first get the data from the source. You have to clean, you have to make sure the data is clean. You have to, transform, make sure it's well in the right format before you load it into a visualization software, which now displays it in a dashboard format, in a reporting format. So basically that's the whole process that you have to go through as a data analyst. Sometimes you get jobs where you don't have to do all this process, but as a data analyst, you should be comfortable undergoing this process. Also, data is the new oil, like people would say. Every business generates data. Every company, even individuals or self-employed people, they all generate data. And it's our job as data analysts to make sense of that data that's been generated. You may also be wondering, why should I learn data analysis? It's a very high in demand career job as well. Every business needs a data person, either to extract the data, either to make sense of the data. And if you undergo this program as a data analyst and you get a job as a data analyst, it allows you to be versatile. You have a versatile skill set because you get to learn so many things, whether they are data related or non-data related. You become a unique employee, if I would put it that way, because everyone needs someone who can interpret things. Anyone needs someone who is creative. And by, undergoing such a program, those are some of the skills you get to you get to acquire during the time frame. Also, your career growth, by the time you're done being a technical person in data analysis, you you also get to, when it's time to move on, you could be a management person, and then because you know how to read data, nobody will bamboozle you with any of these things. So those are the kind of things you would be able to do as a data analyst and offer career growth in the process. So now, what are the duties of data analysis? I already mentioned some of them. You identify, you collect, and you migrate data. So identifying this data, you identify the data from different sources and you collect them. Yeah, maybe you extract them, you download them, and you migrate them to platforms where it will be easy for you to do the next thing, which is to manage, clean, and aggregate. And something that comes to mind when you to do this to use this process is Microsoft Excel, which is very, very common in many, many businesses. And the next thing you'll be able to do is also to manipulate and link different data sets. So that means you can collect data sets from different sources and then you can, merge them into one particular source. Those are some of the steps you'd be doing. What's next would be um, creating beautiful visuals, making sense of the raw data that you have collected, now presenting them in a simple to understand. For example, it could be a bar chart, it could be a pie chart, it could be a scatter plot. Those are the kind of things as a data analyst you'd be able to do, and using the right charts for the right data set, and then summarizing all this into a report. And your report could be multiple dashboards, it could be just an Excel document that shows the breakdown of what the client has requested for. So basically, that's what the data analyst does. What are the potential job roles you could get as a data analyst? I mean, data analyst is a big word, and under data, there's so many other job titles. It doesn't necessarily have to be a data analyst. You could become a business intelligence analyst, which is similar. You could become a data scientist, which is going one step further. You could become a data engineer, who is someone who just sits behind. the whole process and just make sure that data is being collected properly and it's being modeled properly. You could become a data manager just like myself. You could become a data administrator. You could become so many other things as a data analyst. But the key things for you to do to be able to get this job is you need to acquire some skills. And some of the skills, the soft skills you need to acquire, how to identify trends and patterns. My apologies for that error in that text. How to communicate with your clients. You need to be able to communicate in a simple manner where you're not speaking too many jargons. You're going to be learning all those skills. You need to be able to, you assume that your stakeholders do not know anything about the technical things that you know. So you need to break it down for them and they'll be able to understand. You need to know how to manage your data. When you're running your data sets, how you're storing them, where you're storing them, access that you're giving to them. As a data analyst or as a data manager, you need to have that soft skill as well. How to model data. By the time you learn something about SQL, you understand what data modeling is about, how you should, do the relationships between those different databases. You also learn how to have skills around data quality and assurance, how you can validate your data, how you can build data visuals using your bar chart, pie charts, whichever, how you can combine all this together and make it a dashboard. That's very key because there's some people whose work in any team could be just telling a story with the data with visuals, numerical analysis, logical and creative thinking, also statistical methods and data analysis. Those are things you'd need to acquire for you to be job ready. The next thing you'd need to learn are some tools, and the starter tools, which are very important. Number one is Microsoft Excel. Excel is the number one tool that no matter where you find yourself, you need to know how to use Excel. You need to be able to do data tasks with Excel. You need to be able to create these visuals in Excel. But Excel has some limitations, which is why there are other companies who have come up with solutions. For example, Tableau and Power BI, they are visualization tools. They're able to give you better visualization in terms of presenting your data. They can also accommodate more data, more rows of data, unlike Excel, which has a limitation. And then the pack as a standalone package, it can always, mess up. And that's something Microsoft looked at and they created something called Power BI. Like Power BI, Excel, they're created by the same company. You see that some of the tools or some of the functions you're doing or some of the third-party applications you're going to be using are all connected to Microsoft Excel. And you'll be doing almost the same thing on Power BI that you could do on Microsoft Excel. But Power BI has the capacity to, to help you do more. And then there's something called the structured query language, which is SQL or SQL. That is a database management programming language, right? And you could query databases, you could store databases. You're going to be learning how to query databases, relational databases, how to extract data from these databases, how to commit data into it, also how to set relationships, how to also transform data within a database. Those are the things you'll be learning. And once you learn these four key skills, they will get you job ready. They will get you job ready. And they are not on the surface. It looks like it's a lot. The only one that you would probably need a bit of knowledge in terms of programming is SQL, but it's not. And when you talk about programming, it's one of the easiest programming language to learn, SQL, because sometimes it just looks like you're writing in plain English. Once you understand the syntax, you'd be able to run that. If you want to take it a step further, then you need to learn things like Python or R, and that's for data scientists as well, data engineers. That is also able to provide It's also able to provide you advanced techniques in data analysis. It could do almost the same thing as what SQL does, but it's just more advanced and it has the versatility to be used for more things than just data analysis. You could learn Azure. Azure have their own data studio where you could use to learn. There's SPS for statistical researchers. They use SPSS as well. And data modeling, I mentioned that before. For data modeling, once you learned SQL and you've learned how to structure your data, it will make more sense to you when you're trying to, set something from the get-go, or when you're trying to build something, when you're trying to create a structure around data, how data should flow, once you understand how data modeling is, you would be able to get that done. And those are some of the skills you'd be learning. There are different levels within the data analysis space. Of course, you can always move from different areas to different areas. But the entry level is usually the associate level entry level market. You will see in analyst or associate data analyst. That's the beginning. But if you are able to soldier through this program, you would probably be looking at the mid-level first. Mid-level data analysis, people have about 3 to 5 years experience. Over 5 years experience, you'd be someone who is a senior data analyst. And then when you become a principal data analyst, then that means you're on top of the food chain, and then from there you can progress. The industries you can work in, basically you can work as a data person in any industry, from finance to healthcare, which is where healthcare is where I health data analysis. So many, I mean, every e-commerce that you see on, there's always someone behind the scenes who's trying to make sense, which is where the data person comes in. In marketing, I was also a marketing data analyst. I didn't think it was a role, but what I was actually doing was related to data, and it was had to do with marketing data analysis. In the government as well, if you look at any of these boroughs or any of these councils, you're going to see that in their job boards, you see things like an insight analyst or data analyst. You could work in any, even in the home office or even in any of these government agencies, they all need data analysts. Also in technology is also big. You can work as a data analyst, you can work as a data engineer, you could work as a data scientist. So there's so many industries you can work in as a data analyst. And maybe your job role may not be a data analyst, but once you've learned those core key skills, key data skills, you would be able to, I mean, get those jobs. For data analysts in London, you could be earning as much as £45,000. It's the average, not the minimum or the maximum. In Luton, same in Edinburgh, Cambridge, and Manchester. Those are the average salaries, and that's just if you get into any normal job. That's how much you should be looking at earning as a data analyst. Again, this is another source. This is Glassdoor showing the average, which is £45,000, and it's showing the minimum, which is £30,000 for entry level and £70,000 maybe for a senior data analyst or almost a principal data analyst. But yeah, this is just relative. This is just sampling people's salaries as they've reported it to them. How do you get started? You would enroll into the course at Blue Sky, and that is where you learn at least the basic skills. Those starter skills and the soft skills are what you'll be learning at Blue Sky Citadel. It would take a lot of a lot of commitment from your end. You need to attend all the classes. You can't miss one because it'll be valuable for your for your learning. 100% commitment to the team duties. You're going to be placed in teams, and you'd be required to perform real life data analysis task, which is very important for your learning as well. You would be expected to network and also stay up to date with the latest technology, stay up to date with the latest happenings within data analysis. And you need to practice regularly. It is very important to practice regularly. Apart from what is being taught, you need to go the extra mile. You need to try your hands on data sets. You need to build a portfolio, and all those would get you job ready. So that is my presentation today. Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Rita Ibe. I'm a software tester, ISTQB certified. I'll be taking us on introduction to software testing, just an overview of what software testing entails and who can be a software tester and what we do as software testers. So what is software testing? So software testing is a crucial part of the software development process. It helps ensure the delivery of high quality, reliable, user-friendly software products. Essentially, as we all know, we all use software either on our phones or things like that, computer and anything. So I'll just go quickly into the definition that we have on the screen right now, which is software testing is the process of evaluating and verifying that a software application or system performs as expected. And the primary goal of software testing is to identify bugs and defects in software before it is released to users, ensuring that the final product is reliable, secure, and meets the requirements. So if you take note of one thing, is the consistency, because you have to, as a software tester, reliable, hence the product has to be reliable, secure, and meet the requirements. So as a software tester, we systematically identify and fix issues, testing and minimizing the risks of software failures, and thereby enhance users' satisfactions and supports the overall success of a software application. So I'll quickly give us an analogy of let me just bring it down to the human life cycle or our day-to-day activities. So we all do testing in our day-to-day life, as in maybe, for instance, if you want to eat a very hot food, I'll use a mother and a baby analogy for this to make it clearer. So as a mother, if you're about to give a baby a food that is hot, you have to ensure that the temperature is in the right temperature for the baby. Hence, maybe the food has been piping hot, but then you have to wait for it to get to a certain temperature before you can then give that food to the baby. So which takes us to the next slide. Please, that's okay. Why do we test? So identify and fix bugs, like I was saying, because in this context, if you give that food to that baby and the food is still hot, is not in the right temperature, what do you think will happen to that baby? So in the same way, if we bring it back to software testing, so it's a software that is not tested properly, what will happen? Hence, why do we test? Is to identify and fix bugs early. So the process of identifying and fixing bugs early for software testers is very paramount, is one of the crucial steps for software testers. So a system needs to be tested adequately to avoid software failure with different approach of testing. So catching bugs early, reduce the cost and effort required to fix them later. It is generally more expensive and time-consuming to address issues after the software has been deployed. So that's why we try and identify fix bugs early as a software tester. And then the second one is ensure quality and reliability. So as a software tester, testing ensures that software meets quality standard, is stable, and performs reliable under different conditions. So high quality software will provide a better user experience, minimize crashes or failures, and build trust with users. And then the third one, which is verifying functionality. So as testers, we have to verify that the software performs as intended, functions as specified in the requirements. I'll give you a quick analogy. Say, for instance, you are using the McDonald's website and you just want to grab a Big Mac, for instance, and you click on Big Mac, but you are getting something else. Maybe you are getting a wrap in this instance. You won't be happy because that's not what you want. So we have to verify the functionality to make sure that when users are using this software, the expected end is acquired. What you want, you get, as in not actual results. As we go deeper into this, for the software testers, you will tend to find out the difference, because there's what we call actual and expected when it comes to software. So actual is what you are seeing, but what is expected is not seen. So actual is like, in this case, you are seeing a wrap, but what is expected is supposed to be a Big Mac. So as we go deeper into it, not for tonight, in the course of the teaching, you get to understand all this process. Then we also have enhanced security. So security testing is done to identify vulnerabilities as well and potential security threats within the software space. And one of the importance of enhanced security is to protect sensitive data as well and prevent unauthorized access and safeguards against any malicious attacks, thereby maintaining the integrity of the software. Another reason why we should test is increased customer satisfaction, which is like the previous example I gave. As a customer, you want to be satisfied that whatever you are expected, or you are trying to use a site and you are trying to go into the next page and the site is not taking you to where the initial intention is. Maybe the site is telling you, oh, if you click on a particular menu, it will take you to this page. But when you click on that, you are not getting that. It can be very frustrating. So you want to increase customer satisfaction. You don't want a situation whereby if a particular site, say for instance, like JD site, you know that, oh, whenever you click on shoes or trainers, you don't get trainers. Instead, you get a flip-flop. So you would not want to go use such site. Hence the reason for increase for customer satisfaction. So to ensure that the software is bug-free, because in that instance, that is a bug, and meets user needs directly, contributes to customer satisfaction, and customers are more likely to then use this software and provide positive feedback, and as well as recommend it to others. So hence the reason for increasing customer satisfaction, and one of the reasons why we test. Then the other one is reduce development costs. So why we test also, which is one of the reasons I've also touched on in the first, I think the first one when I said ensure quality and reliability. So the reason why we also test is to reduce development costs, because when we find bugs early, it tends to be cost effective, is less expensive than when it's being found later on in the production. Say, for instance, if the bug is not being detected early or identified early, if it goes into production, if it then goes into life, it can lead to several things. It can lead to loss of money. It can lead to loss of trust and things like that. And minimize risk as well is one of the reason why we also test. By thoroughly testing the software, testers identify and mitigate potential risks before deployments. And this also helps reduce the likelihood of failures and in some cases, data breaches and other issues that could negatively impact the business or the business reputation, as the case may be. Next slide, please. Okay. Who can be a software tester? So who can be a software tester? Ideally, anyone. I said ideally anyone because there's no which let's just go to the next slide. That will help us understand why I said ideally anyone. Next slide, please, Laumi. Thank you. So number one, you need all these soft skills for you to be a software tester. So if you have all these attributes in you, then you are good to go as a software tester. One, you have to have passion and attitude. So a good tester should have a passion for quality and commitment to ensuring that products meet high standard. So as a tester, you need to have this passion in you. You have to be curious. You should take pride in your job. You should be dedicated to deliver a product that will meet or exceed customer expectations. So you have to be optimistic. You have to be productive. You have to be self-motivated and to contribute to the service of testing. And the second one is verbal and written communication. So as a tester, it is essential for you to have this soft skill because you'll be communicating with other team members, either verbally or non-verbally. So in terms of verbally, if you're communicating with team members, maybe there's an issue you want to find a common ground, you want to try and persuade them, you have to have this good communication skill, because the ability to articulate thoughts and express ideas effectively are using oral or non-verbal communication to help you instruct or inform or persuade a team member, as well as a good listener. You have to be a good listener. You have to be able to collaborate effectively with other team members. And in terms of written communication, in the instance whereby you want to communicate with, for instance, your developer, maybe a bug has been raised and you want to write the reasons or and a discussion to an additional information why you've raised a bug, you have to have a good written communication, clear and concise. It should be something that everybody will be able to understand. It should be something that will be clear. It should be a good report that will clearly identify, hence the reason why you have raised a bug. So all these are essential for you as a software tester, which are soft skills. So if you have all these attributes in you, it is very it's a plus for you. Then you have to have analytical skills. So analytical skills, I'll say think out of the box attitude or out of the box thinking. You have to have a problem solving skills as well, ability to dissect problems and issues and making decisions as well, applying the right approach or process to effectively solve or enhance any in any given circumstances. And the fourth one is keen eye for detail. So we always say, yeah, attention to details, attention to details. As a tester, you have to be attentive to details. You have to have that ability to identify issues regardless the size, regardless how small you might think it is, but it might be crucial, it might be important that others may not have been able to notice. So you need to have that, which goes with curiosity anyway. And but yeah, you just have to be keen. You just have to have keen eye for details. I'll put it that way. Then the last one is time management. You have to prioritize wisely. Goal setting as a tester. There will be instances whereby you will have lots of tasks. So you have to use what we call the prioritization, what will I call it now? You have to prioritize wisely in terms of maybe choosing which one you think is much essential, the one you think should go first, because there's always a priority when it comes to a task that you will be given in most cases. So you have to prioritize wisely, and you have to set a goal for yourself as well, and you have to plan, and you have to be able to meet deadlines as well as starting early. So as a tester, we always encourage that you start early, even when the developers are not done with their bit before you. Well, as a tester, you can start writing your test cases. You can start even in terms of requirement, understanding the requirement is also part of testing, which is static testing. So you just have to start early, because if you have a clear understanding of the requirement, it will also help you when it comes to writing or designing your test cases. Next slide, please. So the technical skills required as a software tester, beg your pardon, is computer literacy, one. So for computer literacy, the ability for you to be able to even use computer or any related technology effectively is a plus for you. It can be as basic as knowing how to navigate a website. So if you know all the necessary approach in how to navigate sites, or what they are called, the names, like for instance, we have some menus we call the difference between a menu and a button. We have the hamburger icon and things like that. So all those features, if you know them, it's also a plus for you. So those are basic computer technologies that you can bring into the internship, and that would definitely enhance your learning as well. And then secondly, which all these things you will be taught here anyway, even if you don't have this before, but you will definitely be taught how to navigate and how to use the system. And yeah, you will also learn how to design test cases and create test plan, because as a tester, you need to know how to create a test plan. So this test plan on its own is a topic, and you will learn how to do that here. And then designing test case is just part of it, is what you will do from time to time, and you get good at it. And there are different approach to it. And for manual, we call it test cases, and for automation, we call it test scripts. But if you can design a test case, you definitely know how to design your test script as well. Then the fourth technical skill that is required as well is manual testing, which you will be taught here, because you can even work as a manual tester. You have the opportunity to acquire the knowledge of being just a manual tester, but we always encourage everyone to get into the automation, because that will enhance your chance of getting a job quicker. But there are, of course, there are jobs out there for manual testing. And then we also have the automation part, which is like the most interesting part. So all these will be taught here with different languages. It could be C# or Java. Yes, those are the tools that have been two languages that are being offered here in Blue Sky. And even in the course of the internship, sometimes we bring in people that will take you API and as well as SQL, because even as a tester, if you have those API, if you are exposed to API and API testing, which is the manual part, Postman, and SQL, it will also enhance your chance of getting a job quicker. Next slide, please. So tools that are used by software testers. So these are some of the tools that are used by software testers. And Excel, Azure DevOps, Jira, Confluence, C#, like as I mentioned earlier. So Excel is just, you can use Excel to design your test cases, which will be manual. But a lot of companies have moved away from using Excel, thereby moving into other management tools like Azure DevOps, Jira, or Confluence. So with Azure DevOps, you can write your test cases there, but with Jira and Confluence, you need an extension or plugin to be able to design your test cases on those management tools. And then C# is the automation language tool that we use. And Java is also one of them. So C# integrated with Selenium and SpecFlow, while Java is also IntelliJ and Maven. Then we also have the SQL, like I mentioned. You get maybe just an overview. We don't use that because most time you'll be working on greenfield application if you're lucky, or a brownfield application. So you get to understand, I'm using some of these technical terms, but then because you just have to, these are the things you will get here. To bring it down to you in a layman's language, greenfield application is a fresh project from the scratch. Nothing is existing at all, no existing code. Why a brownfield application is an existing project. That's just basically what it is. But I'm just using all these things because this is expected of you to act professional when you get out there. Because what you'll be getting here is an experience like a workplace. So what you'll be getting here is not different from what you'll be expected to do outside. So hence I will encourage each and every one of us to put in our best, try to attend all classes like the previous tutor said about the DA tutor. Try and attend all classes, don't rely on videos. And yeah, you also get maybe an overview of API testing as well, just an introduction and just for you to have an idea. And say, for instance, you go for an interview, you can say, yes, I'm exposed to API, I'm exposed to SQL, maybe I've not directly worked on it with a project, things like that. But yes, these are things you can say, and it will also enhance your opportunity of getting a job. And Playwright is also one of the tools that testers use, and Cypress as well as Teams for effective communication among team members. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So what you gain at the end of the internship, requirements analysis, which is we use we practice Scrum Agile here, which is Scrum, and one of the ceremonies you'll be having to go through the requirement with the BAs and the developers. And in that instance, in that meeting or task, in that ceremony, you'll be able to understand the requirements. You'll be able to know what is expected of you as a tester. And this is when you bring out your A game, thinking out of the box. And this is when you ask questions. Because when you have a deep understanding of the requirements, when the BAs are talking, when the developers are talking, you'll be able to challenge them, you'll be able to question them, you'll be able to ask questions that will benefit you when you are executing your own test cases or when you are designing your test cases. So you will also learn how to create test plan. Like, as I said, this is a whole subject on its own, because as a tester, you would be required to create your own test plan, because if you are the only tester in the organization, or you were the first to be employed as a tester to a new to any organization, you will be required to write a test plan for that particular project. And if it's a new project, you have to have a test plan. And what you use is the requirements that you are being given. And what it just encompasses is an overview of what the project entails. That is what you will use to map out your test plan. It's easy anyway. So, but yeah, you learn that here. And how to design test case. I've also said that, which is one of the most mandatory thing for you as a tester. You should know how to write a test case and test environment setup. So here you will learn how to set up your environment, like the C# and the Java. You learn how to set them up from the scratch on your own, and then you'll be guided accordingly. Test execution, after you've written your test cases, how you execute them. So all this will be taught during the course of the internship. Defect reporting, when you raise a defect, when you raise a bug, how to report it and things like that. Or at the end of the sprint, you collate all the defects, you create a report for it. And automation testing, which is also one of the best part of being a tester. You learn that here as well. And as well as how to collaborate with other team members. You will also learn documentation, professionalism, how to use terminologies, because you want to go out there and say yourself. You want to let them know, because whatever you take out here, you'll be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with somebody else that have 5 years experience from what you will gain here. I'm talking from experience. So from what you will gain here during the course of this internship or as a diploma student, by the time you come out of this internship, you will be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with somebody that has been working in an organization for 5 or 7 years. Why? Because everything we do in here in Blue Sky is work-based platform, as in the same process, the same structure, the same approach, the same technique. Nothing is different. So then you will also get a CV review. The Blue Sky will be taking everyone on CV review. They will review your CVs and things like that. Then you will also learn how to create a test report. And another thing you gain here is self-development. You'll be encouraged to, because from what you get is like the from the previous tutor said, you have to keep practicing. So what you get here is by the time you have a task, if you are the type that is hungry for more, you will go out there and carry out your own research. You want to get your hands dirty. That's the curiosity we are talking about. You want to break something. You want to know why, because you have to have that mindset of why for you to be an effective tester. Yeah, that takes us to the next slide, please. Thank you. So the average salary I could get for today, to be honest with you, it varies, and sometimes it's not accurate, hence why we said average. So it's in between, and by tomorrow it could go a little bit higher, to be honest. So for today, because I did this exactly today, though there's no date, I was looking for the one with the date. I think one of them do have date, but I couldn't find it on one of the sites. So for the average salary as of today, Sunday the 25th, is 47,500, and this is I've forgotten what site this is now. I didn't take the name with it. So that's the average salary. I mean, for 37,500, you are looking at for manual testers. So if you're a manual tester, you will fall into that range of 37,500. So for automation, the least you will start with is this average of 47,500, and it goes higher from there. And the more you equip yourself, the more you stay abreast of industry trends, the more relevant you become. Because another thing I forgot to add to the slide is how relevant testers are. There's no company that can do without a tester. A tester is required in all organizations. And another good part of being a tester is that a company can employ more than one testers. So like in the organization where I work, we are 8 testers because it's a cross-functional team. So a company always require a tester. That's just what I'm trying to say, minimum of one, and it can go higher than that. So hence why we are so relevant. And with automation, you will even be more relevant. So try and get your hands dirty, know your automation properly. That will set you apart when it comes to being on the market. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, thank you so much. And any questions? I hope I didn't spend too much time. Thank you, Laomi. Thank you for sharing with me, Lao.
Thank you so much, Rita, for this. Sorry.
Stop there anyway, and I will let any other person say something. Now, yeah. So it's work in progress. As you continue, as you grow, even when you get to job, you will learn more. That's just how it is. Just like any other job. So when you get out there, you even in the course of interview, you will also learn more. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else has something to add to that, like any other mentor on the call. But yeah, but 3 months is definitely enough for you to get hold of it.
Okay, because of what you just said last, Rita, I don't mind. Femi, do you want to take that also for data analysts, if 3 months is enough to learn?
So basically, 3 months is enough to get you started, right? If you dedicate maybe every day 3 months, you'll be job ready. But the kind of jobs you'll be maybe comfortable to do would be maybe the entry level ones. 3 months is enough to learn the basics of tools, but it requires more effort to dig deeper, continue practicing. Yes, because I would say it's not enough. It is enough because everyone's not like me because I already have some skills. I learned in 3 months and I got a job in like 2-3 months after that. So yeah, of course it's doable. You just need to dedicate the time and effort. But if you want to learn in depth, knowing all the tools, knowing the advanced functions of all those tools, it will take you more than 3 months, and it comes with experience, it comes with practicing. So yeah, to learn the tools, the basics, yes. And is the basics enough for you to be job ready? Absolutely yes, because you can get a job as a data analyst that using just one of those software learns. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Femi. Thank you for that response. And if I'm going to add to what Femi and Rita has said, I always like to do the practical side, and it's just a direct answer. everybody speaking to you right now, they started with these 3 months and now they are doing very well in their own field. So I think it's more of a show and tell for me. You try it out and you see if it's enough for you. But the only thing is you need to do the work. And that's the summary of what both of them have said. You need to do the work. You can't just assume 3 months and you're not doing anything within the 3 months, to push yourself. I always remind everybody that this journey is yours. So you need to actually put in the hard work. You need to actually put in the hard work to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So yes, 3 months is very, very sufficient, but you need to put in the work. Thank you so much. Okay, so looked at it. I had to go back to the chat to see, the first person that asked earlier today was actually Hamed Adinake, saying if we're doing software tonight and all. And I was just about to ask him if he had any questions. So his hands are up. So Adinake, we're happy to take you. But before we take you, I'll just quickly speak on Ifiok. And yes, Ifiok, I don't know if you heard me earlier. We're going to be sending the recording to the Telegram group. So yes, you're going to be getting the recording, in the next 24 hours. You can get it this night, you can get it shortly, but yes, you can get it. And Rosalind, we see you're excited that you can learn in 3 months. Don't worry, everybody learns within 3 months, and they are doing well for themselves. So thank you. And is there going to be a session on cybersecurity? We'll let you know on the chat if there will be on cybersecurity. Thank you. Then I saw DA software testing. Does it mean we're learning both? So for the diploma, yes, you're going to learn both. So okay. Oh, Rita has responded. So thank you, Rita. I think that was the right answer. So okay. I just wanted to quickly go through all the chats before we call Hamid to go ahead. So thank you, everyone. I hope we've answered all the questions on the chat. If you still have questions, feel free to raise your hand. So Hamid, do you want to give us the last question for today?
Okay, good evening, all. Yeah, there is a 2 questions I would like to ask. One, which one will you put more effort on? Is it manual testing or automatic testing? That is one. Then the second one, the training, is it during the day? Is it during the weekdays or weekend
Okay.
for the training? Yeah.
Okay, I think I'll answer both because of time. So, which one should you put effort in, manual or automation? So, I am that which-wanted tutor. What do you think the answer is? So I'll see if we are speaking the same language. You yourself, Ahmed, what do you think the answer is? Yeah. Which one do you think you should put enough effort to?
Well, I believe the both, but based on the new system, the way you put the annihilation, I think by now we should go for the automation texting, which is, I think that is what is in the book now. But it is added advantage for someone to know the both, which is both manual and automation. But I just want to confirm from you. For me, I'll do the both, but at least we can't have 50, we can't have 100% for both, but at least if it's automation, maybe I'll give 100% and then whatever thing I can do on manual. But I just want to get the confirmation from you if it's possible to have the both like 100%.
Okay, thank you so much, Hamed. And I think you answered it correctly. But the thing is, I'll just stick to the 100. Yes, you can be 100, but both. You need to know your manual testing very well. That will even be what will guide you to have, that knowledge you want in automation. So you need to know both very well. We always just like to commence with manual testing. Reason being that manual testing is that basic you want to know before you transition into automation, right? So it's baby steps. So manual testing is more of the baby steps. Trust me, anybody that knows automation, they have good idea of manual testing. They might just not be experts in it because probably they don't do it every day. And maybe you got a job and all you do is automation, so you can just put manual testing aside. It's not like you completely struggle with it, but it might not be your baby. But for this diploma you're doing, we expect you to have full knowledge of both. We're going to take you through both of them equally, and at some point it will be manual testing we are facing. By the time you become guru in manual testing, we'll transition you straight into automation. You'll be doing both for all your tickets as you're going, for all your issues that you're raising and everything. That's your work items. You're going to be doing both manual and automation, except if automation is not needed on that particular work you're doing. So don't worry, when you join, you understand exactly what I'm saying, but you'll be doing both fully. So please be battle ready for both. We're going to as you're leaving the diploma, you will be guru in both the manual and automation. Thank you. And for your second question, what was the second question again? Please remind me. That's if it doesn't come to me before you
Is it
respond.
going to be weekdays or
Yeah,
weekend?
so if it's going to be weekdays or weekend. So prior now we do Monday to Sunday, but because of sanity and we want work-life balance for everybody, we do Mondays to Friday. But please note it's still going to be Mondays to Sundays, because the only thing is when it comes to Blue Sky really interfering in you in the sense of, you know, having trainings or, you know, any specific ceremony is going to be during the course of the week, Monday to Friday, and it's usually going to be in the evenings, starting from 8 p.m. to roughly 11 p.m. It depends on, you see your schedule as we go. I don't want to really deviate to a lot of things, but you see your schedule as you go. You see calendar week on week, what you'll be having, your timing, so you can plan around it. But most times I just tell people be open-minded for Blue Sky from 7 p.m., but it's usually from 8 to about 11 o'clock. The 7 now is because sometimes you have ceremonies or even other ad hoc meetings that your team members might call for and all that. So usually people start, say, around 7. Say, for example, your stand-up now, most people do it around 8:30, 7:30, thereabout. We'll even be changing some of those kind of calls, but, you know, around 7:30. So just be open-minded from 7 to 11 now for the weekdays. Now for weekends, we will not be giving you any training weekend, except maybe 1 or 2, maybe ad hoc or for a special reason. But weekend is for you, for your self-development. And guess what? Your teammates can also call for meetings. Say, for example, maybe you are trying to do your end of sprint reports. That's your sprint review, amongst other things. Maybe your retro. They can call for a separate ad hoc meeting. And when they call for ad hoc meetings, they can do it weekend. It can be any of your own timing, but your timing with Blue Sky will be Monday to Friday. Then for you and your team, it could be anything. You guys can call meeting. At the start, you might not even do any Saturday, Sunday, but before you go in 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks into, you know, the program, you start seeing that some of you will start calling for Saturday calls, because that might be what is convenient for everyone. But I hope you get the gist. For your main program with Blue Sky officially, to be Monday to Fridays. And the Monday to Fridays, let me just also tell you, might not be actually every day, but at the beginning, it's inevitable. It's going to be every day at the beginning, because there's a lot of background we want to, you know, make you catch on and explain some things to you. You go gradually. Then when everybody's getting more stable, then it reduces a bit. It might now be maybe 3 or 4 times within the week, not the full 5 days within the week. But like I said earlier, you see your calendars every week. Like you'll be seeing your calendar for 2 weeks ahead, for 2 weeks ahead, for 2 weeks ahead. That sprint on sprint calendar will be shared to you. So just be rest assured that we'll give you the opportunity to be able to plan yourself, but it's going to be in the evenings. You rarely have anything in the afternoon, because we expect people with, like, even the tutors that are going to be taking you, they will have their own 9 to 5 and their own life, right? So in the evenings is when they can have time to take you through the session. So everything is going to be in the evening. We also expect that most people to work during the day. I know that we're abroad and some of us work at night, but everything is fixed for evening. I hope that answers the question, Adenike. Hamid, does that answer your question?
Yes, you have answered my question.
Thank you. All right. So any other question before we call it a night? We have already exceeded time, and apologies about that. Any questions? Anything? Okay. Any closure remarks, Femi or Rita? Anything you want to say before we call it a night? Is there any other mentor on the call that wants to say anything? I'm happy for you to say something before we call it a night. Okay. I guess we're all good. Rita, all good from your end?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Did you say anything you want to say? You good?
It's not there.
Yeah, no. He's there in body.
I know.
That's all right, everyone. Thank you so much for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll catch each other again next week, Sunday. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.